Country is still saddened and finding it hard to cope with the death of the void left by jazz artist Ray Phiri. On Wednesday, the country woke up to the tragic news of Phiri's passing. And as we continue here on the SABC News to pay tribute to this legend, we thought we should invite a lady that has worked with Ray Phiri. Academic and artist Professor Cosbi Mbele is credited with introducing Mr. Paul Simon to Ray Phiri. Professor, what a pleasure. Good morning on such a sad note, though.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Who exactly is Professor Cosbi Mbele?
Oh, as a girl who was born in Ladysmith, grew up in Soweto, and at some point I felt like, I want to be like Miriam Makeba. I would sing her songs, and I was praying that, someday I'll meet her, But I think the political situation in the country, was not that good. So at some point I said, let me record. We recorded the first album with my family, my brother Rudy, my brother Mbuso, and my younger sister. And that's the album that really introduced us to Paul Simon. Because after I left South Africa in 1981, there were a lot of problems here and there. Record companies don't tell you everything. I think at Gallo Records at that time, that's when I saw Ray with the group. Istimela, Abu Jabu,
talk to us about that. How did you come to meet Ray Phiri and the group Istimela?
Because we're on the same label, Gallo Records.
Okay.
So I would see these young, talented, individuals. Sometimes the whole day. But, I hope one day I can just help these guys. I don't know how, but one day I'll help them, because I know the music. Baby says, I'm a cannibals and Mabeba Istimela.
Yeah.
Great artists. I remember I was asked at some point, if I want to record, do I want to record with a white group or whatever?
Yeah.
I said, no. Mfuna lab, I want this one.
Yeah.
But these, not yes, those ones. Yes. So I left then in South Africa in 1981. And when I left, at some point, I was very discouraged because even in America, there was not much about South African music on our screens, on their screens.
I was about to ask, at that time, he was clearly singing about, songs that were sending a strong message about what was currently happening in the country.
Yes.
And that wasn't practically allowed in our own country.
Yeah, definitely.
So how did you go about doing that and putting out the message out there so that the world took notice, Ma'am?
Yes. I have a song, Api Amakawe. And Istimela backed me in that song, Amakawe, Bantu Bagit. Amakawe is a tribute to Bambata, to Shaga. And the song says, Vuga Bambata, usi Bambatele bona. I was attacking the apartheid system. Vuga Shaga, ushayele bona. And remember that at the time, every song was supposed to have no lyrics, political lyrics.
Yeah.
They never play that music, But in the States, people love that music.
And we also had a lot of people in exile in the States
exile,
as well.
And then we would use that CD. I hope they'll show it. This is the latest CD. This one is Let's Unite. Maybe some people have it. I can't leave that song out of my CDs.
Your compilation,
Because I remember CPS saying, your music is great, even the language that we don't understand, the beat, everything. But can you change those songs to, especially Ape Makawe?
Yes.
What is it saying? Can you change it to maybe English? I said, no, not
Let's
that
talk
one.
about that meeting that you facilitated between Paul Simon and Ray Phiri. What drove you to make such a big move for him?
We have a guy about to do Mandlovu or producer Yombama.
Yes.
And what's Biza singing South Africans and said, we want to meet Paul Simon who wants to record with South Africans and what. And my brother and I went because he wanted professional singers. And so we went, met Paul Simon, talked, and ngakhuluma ke ngama groups asekhaya, big groups, about Ladysmith, Black Mambazo, that sound, if you hear it, it will blow you. Ayiki best NJ in the world. The group, the harmony. And there's a group called Istimela.
Yes.
If you can hear that group. And he said, really? I said, yes. He said, where are they? I said, they live in South Africa. And they backed me in my music. And I gave them It was still that big,
LPs.
LPs.
Yeah.
Now just listen to it. Just listen to it and see if maybe you can work with those
people. And do you know the result of that?
No,
a month-long tour?
I didn't know anything. And nobody in the meeting said, Paul Simon, don't go to South Africa, because there was nothing, whether in the ANC or PAC or Black Consciousness thing, which said a South African artist cannot collaborate with an American. Those political things came later.
How big of an impact was that that tour that Ray Phiri embarked upon with Paul Simon?
If you've been in another country for a long time, once you hear your people lifting the flag,
you want to go home.
Yes, lifting the South African music, you just say, oh wow. We were screaming. So
it inspired a lot of activism back home as well.
Because, I had always wanted to meet Miriam Makeba, and she was part of that talk. Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masigela, Ray Phiri was leading, actually, Paul Simon's Graceland talk. That guy, man. But, Yashaya Radio City program, even if there were people outside, a few South Africans, at the end of the show, we were all together singing Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika. We were together lifting the flag of our country, saying, yes, we have been, deprived of certain things. Yeah. But look at what that country has produced.
Absolutely, Ma. And talk to us about the role played by artists like yourself and Ray Phiri in, of course, the liberation of South Africa through music.
Yes, music plays a very important role. I remember when I went to the United Nations at some point, I had to address some students, university students. Later on, I lectured at the City University of New York. And I would be invited to talk about South Africa, to talk about the music. And all the time, at the end of that program, I would be asked to sing a South African song. Wow. My music, I have like Apya Makawi Siyashadisa, Bantu Bagiti, which means let's be united. There's a lot of controversy. People are fighting in our continent. Let's all be one.
Absolutely.
Even if you belong to a different organization. We used to fight in the ANC and the PAC, and people would say, okay, once you take over, we'll change some things. And one of those things is South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
That's true.
Because now we have a problem of people who are not citizens here, and whatever. And, we had this vision for our country. And me being having lectured at the City University of New York for about 10 years, encouraging young people to go to see the show, Paul Simon, Miriam Makeba, they came back and said, wow.
They were too intrigued.
Wow. Miriam Makeba alone, was able to just share the message of what was happening in South Africa within 2 hours. But I'm a politician for years. The
message wasn't resonating.
American singers should not go to South Africa, but in best hotels, and not go to Soweto, and not go to any township, because they come back like Michael Jackson. Those
so
niggas,
you were practically the foot soldiers of
those
the movement.
Niggas are crazy. I didn't see them. It was the best country. I was in the best hotel. Sati, no.
Those niggas.
No. First of all, we don't use the word niggers. Yeah. And all these young artists, I produced young artists. Now,
yes.
Now, I was with Michael Jackson.
Wow,
here.
I see that,
You see that, yes. And, Paul Simon Nagula. And even if music was very important, I was also involved with Jesse Jackson. Yeah. I was young here, but I was able to at least mobilize the people. I see
Stevie Wonder there as well.
I was with Stevie Wonder, who was concerned about the issues in South Africa, what was happening. Joseph Shabalala. Now, some members of the Ladies with Black Mambazo about record one of the songs with me about celebration, because we wanted to celebrate our country,
and celebrate, bring that message,
and bring that message. And sometimes it's very difficult, and your music is not played, and then the whole world knows your music, but and sometimes I think education should happen to the people who compile.
Okay.
Music is music. You don't say, oh, this is old music, it's outdated.
Absolutely,
Abelungu basashaya uBach, basashaya uHandel. From the 16th century.
Let's talk about how we should remember Ray Phiri. I know we're out of time. Sorry to cut you in there, but how should we remember Ray Phiri? I mean, you've just totally outlined him as a soldier.
A soldier. I was, I received an SMS from the Minister of Arts and Culture today. Thank you, good luck, but I'm out of the country for now. But we are very happy. Ray Phiri was a soldier, an activist, a musician, and a very humble person. I mean, very humble. He would perform in his own town free of charge. And, let's just give him that honor. He was an activist, a musician, and a very humble person.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That was academic and artist Professor Cosbi Mbele paying tribute to late jazz artist Ray Phiri.
Some people like fighting, some people like talking about you and me. You know me, baby, I'm a lover, not a fighter. If I was to fight for your love, if I was to fight for your love, I'm coming away. Your love is so sweet, sweeter than candy. For your love, I've come right.